Show presented by Central National Bank. We are live at Rudy's on the Circle in Waco. Welcome to those of you that are here. Welcome those of you that are listening or watching our live stream on Baylor Athletics YouTube page. And it will be a fun and enjoyable and informative hour. I can promise you of that. Coach Dave Aranda will be here top of the hour. We'll visit with him from 7 to 7:30. But, folks, right now, join me in welcoming quite simply the GOAT, okay? I mean, we can say that, and some people may disagree with other coaches, but with Felecia Mulkey, she is the GOAT of acrobatics and tumbling.
I appreciate
Welcome
that.
to you.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah.
I came right in at the buzzer. Did you see that timing?
Yeah. Your timing was impeccable.
You guys,
couldn't be any better.
A little bit of road rage on the roundabout, but we made it in. You know, we do what you do.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
We want you to always drive safely.
I was safe.
And glad you are here. Can you tell everybody the baby goat story? Looking for the graphic of the baby goat.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. So after the national championship, J-Mo sent me an email, and he addressed it to the GOAT.
To the GOAT,
and
yes.
I think it was actually to ask about being on the show, if I'm not mistaken.
I think you're right.
And so I replied, and I was going to be so clever and put a picture of a goat, like where my signature was, but sometimes technology escapes me. And I spent entirely too much time at my desk giggling, trying to find the perfect goat and then figure out a way to put it as my signature. So I was like, whatever. So I email him back. And within seconds, J-Mo sent me an email back with the perfect baby goat. Yeah. So now I have it. So if you guys get an email from me, expect a baby goat picture at the bottom.
Do it. Just send her an email so you can get the goat back from the goat. If you're wondering, GOAT, greatest of all time, and that's Felecia Mulkey.
Well,
so everybody would agree with that.
I appreciate that.
Thank you for being here.
Yeah.
So you've got new digs. You've got new offices, practice space.
Yeah.
With basketball moving out of the Farrell Center, you and volleyball just moved right in.
Yeah, you can't tell me anything right now. I'm so happy. I told my staff we are not allowed to complain about anything for 365 days.
Nothing.
So if it leaks, it leaks. It's the Farrell Center. It doesn't matter. Whatever happens, 365 days.
Yeah.
We are just truly, no, all joking aside, so blessed and so happy daily. Like, I'm completely overwhelmed.
So you moved in, A&T moved into the men's basketball side and offices.
Yes.
But then you get a practice floor, and there's more permanency to it.
Yeah.
What are the biggest pluses of the new space?
So if you weren't aware before, our practice facility was in the middle of the campus, kind of catty corner to the bear habitat, which I do miss the bears, so I will get over there and visit.
And that's old Mars McLean Gym.
Old Mars McLean Gym.
Where Baylor played basketball at one point.
Yeah, it's historic. So I'm blessed to be. We're lucky to be in there for a while. But we were over there and we shared with the HKLS department, and they taught classes in the morning, and there's another department in there too. And we had practice in the afternoon from 2:30 until 5:30. And the departments that were housed in there were so nice to us, and we're such great partners with us. So we were very lucky to have that space. But what it forced us into this 2.5, 3 hour period. And that's all we had, because we had to roll our mats up and put them away. So if you had class, and you had to have class during that time, so it really forced us into that, pigeonholed us. So I think a lot of people, when we say we're in the Farrell Center, they don't realize that we're not housed all the time in the dome.
Right.
That they're the two. There's a former men's basketball practice facility and a women's basketball practice facility, the Wetzel practice facility, that's back there. So we went from having a 2.5, 3 hour time period, 6 days a week, to an entire gym that is completely outfitted for acrobatics and tumbling, and I think they're most excited about never having to pick up the mats again.
Mats can stay down.
Everything else, that may be the biggest thing if they were here. They're in weights right now, or they'd be here. But it has just been a blessing, and so the first time in program history, we had an actual open gym where we could have the gym, and they could come in and work at their own pace and do things, because we're in our 8-hour segment. And we started that the first day of school, and there has yet to be a day that they are not in there. And there's 53 of them.
Wow.
So they're not all in there every day. But yesterday I looked down, because my office looks over, again, you can't tell me anything. My office looks over the gym, and I looked down, and there were like 10 of our freshmen down there just working, getting better, and honestly just having fun. So that's been huge. And we inherited right now, They didn't do anything to the men's and women's locker room facility. They just kind of, cleared out a couple of things. And so we turned the men's locker room, and this is temporary. We keep referring to it as phase 1.
Gotcha.
And because they're hopefully will change this after this year.
Yep.
But they made it where the men's basketball locker room is our locker room. So all of our lockers are in there, change clothes, etc. And then the women's basketball locker room is now our team room and lounge. And we put some more couches and things in there. And our temporary setup is amazing. So I can't imagine, an upgrade from there. So yeah, to say we're happy is an understatement.
And phase 2 is coming.
It is.
Like
it is,
expanded that locker room, maybe knock down that wall between. I don't know what the plan is.
I'm not sure of the plan, but there's already meetings about that.
Yeah.
So it'll be, an A&T specific locker room. And they did great for us. They took all the basketball stuff out. And what we did for our seniors, because they're going to be in phase 1, they're going to be in that transition year, is went into the men's basketball side, and we brought all of our old lockers, because men's basketball has 15 or 20.
Right.
We have 53 people. So we brought all of our old lockers from Mars McLean and put them on one side. And for the seniors, we decked out the men's basketball lockers and put their picture on it, and just try to be special for them, because they're going to be out of here before phase 2. They're going to carry us right to phase 2. But yeah, we're really excited.
Very cool. So the practice gym, you've got that space. Use it anytime you want to. And it's a plus, isn't it, for the training room and the weight room that's there?
Yes. So we there's a training room. We had one in Mars McLean, but it wasn't manned all the time, because Kristen Hooten, our athletic trainer, was back and forth to hires. So she actually has an office in the training room in Farrell Center. So that is super helpful. And then there's Gray's Gym, is the workout facility there in Farrell Center, and it's built for basketball, so it's a little bit small for us. So, and that will be part of phase 2 as well. So right now, what we're doing is still training out of Simpson 2 days a week as a large team, because we feel like the big team lift is really big for our culture. Yeah. And then on Thursdays, we train in 2 smaller groups in the Farrell Center. So we're hoping when we get to phase 2, we can change the footprint a little bit so that we can get enough racks so that our whole team we can just be housed in Farrell. I mean, that's where you're going to find me. I will bother no one.
Farrell.
Now, I will be in the Farrell Center.
Where's Fee, Farrell? No matter what day it is, what time of day it is,
it doesn't
all
matter.
Your team. That is so great. Isn't that so great?
It really is.
I mean, it's such a win-win, because basketball has this new facility, men's and women's, but it's a plus for you and a plus for volleyball. They've got expanded space also in the Farrell Center.
And the Foster Pavilion's beautiful and well-deserved. So, we were not sad when they got that, but also happy for Scott and Nikki. But for this group to get their own space is really cool, and I think it's working out well for volleyball too. They have that new floor. I don't know if you've seen. It looks amazing. It looks really, really good, and I think it's supposedly. I stepped on it, and it's supposedly better on their legs and whatnot. But it looks really good. So I'm happy for volleyball. I think they're getting the good end of the deal too.
Big upgrade. That's great. Final question along those lines. Who took over your space at Mars McLean?
The Crickets.
They completely took over, right?
I have no idea. I want to go back over there. Fun story. Can I tell a story?
Sure.
Okay. So right before we moved out of Mars McLean, we had 2 camps in there this summer. And I didn't go out in the gym a lot if I was in the office in the summer, because we didn't have to. There was a different entrance. I walked out in the gym one day, and there was a pitcher's mound out there. Like, it was the wood had bubbled up, and it looked like a pitcher's mound. I have a video of myself walking up onto it. And so we were like, oh wow, okay, well, we got to host these camps in here. So we got stanchions, and we blocked off the pitcher's mound. We made sure that it was structurally sound, by the way. No kids were in danger. Yeah. So we made sure it was structurally sound, and we stanchioned off the pitcher's mound. So we lowered the number of campers that could come to camp to make sure that we wouldn't have too many people in the gym, because we didn't have this area. And it was fine, and we kind of made a joke out of it and whatever. So we had that camp, and then the week later we had another camp that next weekend. The pitcher's mound outgrew the stanchions. In 1 week, so we had to go get 2 more stanchions to cover it. So, I mean, there's a leak apparently over there, but we were laughing because we were like, this building is pushing us out. It is ready for us to get out. So, I'm sure they're going to work on that, but that building's old. It's old. It is, it flooded a few years ago in that area, and you could see where they had replaced the floor. But this was coming from under. So, it's probably, you can probably go see it if you're interested. Just walk in there.
I want to see that. Dr. Wood will remember this, but way back, there was a pool in the back of that building. Did you ever hear that?
I heard in the back or downstairs, so it was like
Yeah.
back behind where we practice.
So like your main gym area there, and then the back away from whatever that main street is.
Okay.
In the back there, there was a pool back there.
Okay, yeah, there's classrooms back there now. Like,
Right.
And it was like a little golfing thing at one point.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's been several things.
They've changed it, and they changed it, I think, the past couple of years. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's going way back, though.
Yeah. I'll be interested to see. I hate to see it go away, the building, because it really.
I don't think it's going
I hope it doesn't go away. It's a
Right.
great building.
Right.
I am happy now to visit it.
Yeah, just
And not live
visit.
there. Yeah.
You're right. Very good. All right, we're off and running with Coach Felecia Mulkey, Baylor Acrobatics and Tumbling. Get to your questions for Coach Mulkey coming up in a bit. If you'd like to ask a question, we'll get a card to you. Fill that out and get it up to us. Plenty more to come. Want to get an update on the sport of acrobatics and tumbling and the number of schools and all that. You're the perfect person to ask that. So we got all that coming up. This is the Baylor Coaches Show presented by Central National Bank. We're live at Rudy's, and we'll be right back after this. From Rudy's, Rudy's is a proud sponsor of Baylor Athletics. Be sure to stop by your local Rudy's or Rudy's.com for some real Texas barbecue. Enjoy 100% oak smoked meats, delicious sides, and Rudy's signature sauce. Don't forget, Rudy serves breakfast tacos every day, Scott, until 10 a.m. Until 10 a.m. And right at 10, you can get a good deal on those breakfast tacos. Thanks to Scott Floyd. Give him a hand. We appreciate Scott, the chief bottle washer here at Rudy's. So thank you very much to everyone, our host site here at Rudy's. Continuing with Coach Felecia Mulkey, Baylor Acrobatics and Tumbling. And give us an update. So I think everybody knows you wear more than one hat. You are also very, very prominent in growing the sport. It continues to grow. I think there's some new teams on your schedule even coming up.
Yeah. So we are currently, I should know this, but it kind of fluctuates because a team will add, and then like we had a school actually close its doors this year. So programs aren't necessarily going away. So it kind of goes up and down. But I think we're at 55 schools right now. We just added Manhattan College in New York, which is another Division I school. It's in the same conference, I think, as Iona and Quinnipiac.
Oh, nice.
There's another, and LIU is up there. I think they're in a different conference. So the growth right now is in that group of 5 kind of. Division I, but at a little bit different level, but it's still Division I play. This year, you'll see us against, it's a first-year program, Duquesne. We're going to go up to Duquesne, Missouri State. We have Iona and Long Island University at home. Per usual, the University of Oregon. And then we have a couple, I think we go down to UMHB this year, and they're Azusa Pacific. We're going to host them for the first time since that national championship that we hosted. That's going to be fun. And then St. Leo from Florida, from Tampa, is going to come up and see us. So we have a pretty good schedule. The sport momentum has not slowed, so we are kind of where we are in the process now is waiting on the NCAA. Imagine that. Waiting on the NCAA. So there's a NCAA process that we've gone through, and we had 40 schools compete in at least 6 meets with at least 18 people, and that's part of the process. So once the NCAA reviews all of the sports sponsorship from our schools and they see that we can check that box, we will be kickstarted into legislation to become a championship sport.
Nice.
So there's just going to be a blue dot on our trophy eventually. I think not much else will change other than that, but it'll still be cool. It's what we worked for.
Yeah.
So,
Oh, you've been working a long time and very hard for it. So well done. Congratulations.
Thank you.
55. You think it's the number right now?
I think it is. I'd have to text Janelle and ask her for sure, but it's around 55, and there's so much interest. Again, at that Division I type level, we're going to be at 60 pretty soon. It kind of ebbs and flows, and you see the interest is there, but school starts, and so everybody kind of loses it. So it's like middle of the fall, we'll start hearing back, and it's pretty exciting.
So this is your 11th year at Baylor.
It is.
You have won 10 national championships. You haven't won 11 only because of the COVID year.
Yeah, COVID got me there.
But when you came to Baylor, how many schools were there in acrobatics?
Oh man,
and tumbling?
I always think I should look at this because it grew so fast.
Yeah.
We may have been less than 20 when I came here, right?
Yeah.
I
Probably right.
I remember talking to you and going, John, I want to win when there's 50 schools. And here we are at 55, and we're headed toward 100, right? So,
That's great.
We started at 6 schools back in 2009. We started at 6 schools. Baylor was one of those first 6 schools. I think it's really important to know the role that Baylor University has played in this. They've really set the standard for the sport across the board, and they are one of the first 6 schools. And we went from 6 then we went to 5 because Maryland dropped a ton of programs. That wasn't just A&T. Right. We went from 5 to 14, and I remember being really emotional, like going, "Oh my gosh, we just over doubled in size." So every little moment's kind of surreal, to see how much it's growing and how many just student athletes are being impacted by this. So and you can see the sport evolve over time. I have a history box that I stole when I left Oregon. Don't tell anyone. Yeah. It stays here. But we started this box because I knew we were making history, and actually there's a whole bunch of things from the beginning of the sport in there, and then every time something of note happens here at Baylor, we put it in. If we get a new,
that's great.
Yeah, and it's just really cool to see. We know what it is right now, but it's fun to look back and say, oh, this is what this looked like, and the introduction of all this acrobatic gymnastic stuff is really changing it. So it's fun. They're going to write a book about it one day. I'm going to be retired to my wiener dog farm by then, but at some point.
You could write a book.
I could write.
Would you do that sometime?
I could do that. I talk too much. I might get with Jerry Hill, and I'll talk to him, and he can write it.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, because I talk too much.
The scribe, Jerry Hill. That'd be perfect. Do that. Tell us about, you give us an update on the NCATA and the number of schools. You mentioned your schedule, but it hadn't been released yet. Give us some of the highlights of your schedule.
Well, it hasn't been released. I actually got final word today that it's complete. So we sent it over to everybody at the Farrell to get our dates set up.
Okay.
So it will be released. Highlight, I think, I'm excited to host Iona at home.
Okay.
Iona's coach is one of my former athletes from the University of Oregon, and then she actually was one of my athletes at Kennesaw State University, so we're taking it way back.
Yeah.
She went to Oregon with me. She's a fantastic coach, and this is their second year, and I think you should watch Iona.
Wow, really?
She is a really good coach, and Iona pours into their program like Baylor pours into theirs. So their the fan base is great. So I think that's going to be fun to have here. Oregon's always fun to have. Mm-hmm. We get to see them
they'll
twice.
Be here.
Yep, they're
home
coming.
Home and away.
They're going to come late, so they'll be here April the 5th.
Okay.
And we'll go up there early in the season.
Okay.
And then I'm excited to see Duquesne. I think the coach I actually didn't coach her, believe it or not.
Right.
But she's a great friend of mine, and she is from Limestone University, won the conference championship there in Conference Carolinas a couple years, and got this job. Her dad, fun fact, is Miss Girl's chauffeur.
Oh, so yeah, I remember that.
The coach at Duquesne, her dad drove Miss Girl to Oregon.
To Oregon.
Yeah, he drove from Maryland, picked up Miss Girl, which is a mannequin,
yes,
if you don't know that story,
yes,
and drove her all the way to Oregon. So anyway, but I'm excited to see Duquesne too. I don't think there's going to be a bad meet, and I'm excited for you guys to see the new faces too. Bailey Humphrey graduated. She may be at USA. She may be on the rugby Olympic
USA
team.
Yeah,
she made that team. She has to choose if she wants to do that and be in the Olympics in 2028,
That's
or
great.
She has an opportunity with the WWE. So she's out doing big things per usual. But we're so used to seeing Bailey and Jordan do these amazing things. Jordan's still here.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited to see these athletes rise, and you guys get to see these new faces, because what you're going to see is this exact same skills that Bailey could do, but other people are going to be doing them. Isn't that cool? And we're even going to be able to introduce some new things as well.
I asked Madeline this earlier today, Madeline Allen. I said, who's the new Bailey? Mm-hmm. And she said, ask Fee that, because you've got more than one, really, that are going to fill that role.
Yeah, we have. So a lot of our upperclassmen have just been working over the summer, so you're just going to see a lot more strength there, overhead stability and strength from some athletes that have been around for a minute. But there is a redshirt freshman, she was injured last year, who is pretty spectacular. Yeah. And Riley Chimwala would tell you, and if you guys know who Riley is, standout MVP in the country, she's an amazing base too. If Riley actually described this athlete as if she and Bailey had a child. So Riley's technique and Bailey's strength.
Yeah, I know what you say.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I don't want to put extra pressure on her, but it's Levy McDonald, if you get a chance.
And she's a freshman.
She's so she'll be here for 4 years. She's a sophomore, but she's a redshirt freshman. But she's fantastic human and ridiculously talented. So I can't wait for you to see her.
Terrific. That's great. All right, we need to take a break. When we come back, we'll get to your questions for Coach Felecia Mulkey. We'll do that when we return on the Baylor Coaches Show, presented by Central National Bank. Central National Bank, your leading independent bank. Thank you all for being here. Thanks to everyone for being here. We'll take a break and be back with Coach Fee right after this. Back on the Baylor Coaches Show, presented by Central National Bank. We are at Rudy's on the Circle in Waco, continuing with Coach Felecia Mulkey, Baylor Acrobatics and Tumbling head coach, her 11th year at Baylor, 10 national championships, 14 overall, counting the 4 at Oregon. So there have been 14 national championships, trophies awarded.
No, 13, right?
No, you're 14.
Am I?
And is with 4 at Oregon?
4 at Oregon.
Yeah.
But only 9
and now
here.
10 here.
Because of COVID. Only 9 here, right?
Oh, only 9 here. Okay.
After this year. You're getting ahead, John.
I am. I'm already counting this year. So, but you've won every national championship trophy that's been handed out. We got questions from the audience. Thank you for that. Coach, first from Mark Berry. Where is Mark? Mark is right there. He says, who is, you know who that is? You know, Jonathan Berry.
Okay.
It's his dad.
Oh,
yeah.
hi.
Yeah. Mark says, who is a freshman who will be an important player this year?
Well, that redshirt freshman I was talking about, Levy McDonald, will be a standout base. And then I think true freshman in the tumbling realm, keep your eye on Sarah Kerr. She's a fantastic tumbler. So I think the cool thing, if you hear of coaches talk first half, second half, first half for us is like acro pyramids, really about bases and tops. The second half is more about tumbling. You'll see Levy a lot in the first half. You'll see Sarah a lot in the second half. So, yeah, I'm excited for both of them. We have a great freshman class. So it's this, and we've only had 3 or 4 practices. We start our 20-hour per week next week. So ask me after next week, and I can give you more. But those are the 2 that are standing out right now.
Very good. That's great. Thanks, Mark. Bob Barrett is right there, and Bob says, what is your secret sauce? And then in parentheses, no one's watching. You can tell us.
I think it's funny. Everybody, asks. It really is just our culture that we create every year. I also have some really good assistant coaches. I'm not silly. You surround yourself with people who are better than you and smarter than you and think differently than you and process information differently than you, and then you really cover all bases. I have an amazing coaching staff. But our secret, we believe, is our culture, and we create it every year. So many people think that you create culture with a team building activity. You know, hey, Coach Fee, what team building activity do you do? Do you do this? Culture is like a relationship, and you work on it every day, and you live what you say, and you're true to your word, and we've just managed to keep doing that. And if you instill that in them, our upperclassmen right now are doing an amazing job leading, but we have to still try every day to create the culture we want. So I think that's the secret sauce. No, I don't think it's not really much of a secret. It's just, I don't know. But thank you for asking. That's quite a compliment. I appreciate that.
Good.
Yeah.
You just do it better than anybody else.
Oh, well, thank you.
Congratulations on that. All right, question from Celeste Barrett. And Celeste says, if the House litigation settlement gets approved, how would you like having 44 more on your roster?
Holy moly. You know what? If it meant changing lives of these young women, I mean, let's do it. It is part of my job. I think the biggest part of my job, and people don't realize this, is managing expectations of the people on my team. So you have 53 athletes on our team, and only 28 compete on any given day. So one of the things that we work on in our program, which is part of our culture, is these women are coming from sports where there was never a bench. So not like football where in Little League, they had to sit on the bench. They might have put them out there anyway, but they had to be on the bench. The women coming into this, if they paid, they competed. So it's one of the things that we work on with this large roster is how does that feel? What does that mean to you? And so it's hard with 53, but it's something that we do. That's how many I have this year. But if Baylor, my big thing is how can I serve Baylor? And I know that us having a large roster helps football. I know us having a large roster helps other programs in the gender equity world. So I would just want to make sure that we can treat them well and love on them and give them this great Baylor education. But I would do whatever I need to do to serve Baylor.
Man, that is great. Great question. Thanks very much. Thank you all for your questions for Coach Mulkey. We're going to let her go. What's next? What do y'all do? Final question. What do you do in the fall? What's going on with your team and your sport right now?
Strength building. So they are in the weight room. I've seen them 3 or 4 times in practice, but they're actually in the weight room 3 times a week. That's where they are right now, or they would be here eating, asking you questions.
Tell them we missed them.
I will. They'll be sad when they hear that they didn't get to come. But all of strength training, they come from so many different backgrounds that we're just bringing them to the same playing field in the fall. And they're coming from that spring-loaded floor to the non-spring-loaded floor. So we do a lot of work in the weight room, a lot of prep, so that when we start pounding them, on that non-spring-loaded floor, we're preventing injury. So and getting to know each other and building that culture. So that's really what the fall's about.
Very good. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Enjoy the fall, and we look forward to your schedule being released soon.
It's a darn good schedule.
Thanks for working that in. I appreciate it. Coach Felecia Mulkey with us tonight. Baylor Acrobatics and Tumbling. Thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me.